Hi there, it's Sarah, and I'm back with another sit-down video. I got a lot of positive feedback about this format on my last one, so thank you so much. Today I wanted to sit down and make vegan chocolate chip cookies with you, and I wanted to use this as a platform to show you some simple substitutions that you can make to transform pretty much any recipe vegan, with a couple of exceptions. I've been using the Nestle Toll House chocolate chip cookie recipe since I was a little kid. When I went vegan, I did not forsake that recipe. It is still the one that I use to this day. We're just gonna run through the ingredients and talk about how you can make it vegan. It's actually really simple. These dry ingredients are vegan by default. I just have unbleached all-purpose flour. I have some baking powder and some Himalayan pink salt. As you may or may not know, sugar is not always vegan, because in a lot of mainstream brands, they actually use animal bone charcoal to process the sugar. So you can just do a quick Google search and see which brands are vegan. I'm using the Wholesome Sweeteners brand. That's what I have here, just the organic cane sugar. It's a little bit coarser than your regular like C&H table sugar, just because it's less processed. Right, you guys, I'm immensely frustrated because my camera battery apparently died in the middle of my long spiel, and I only just now realized it. So I switched out the battery, it's okay. In this recipe, instead of using brown sugar, I'm using coconut sugar. I use this to bake quite a lot, and I just get whatever brand is on sale at Sprouts or what's cheap on Vitacost. Substitutions for butter. There's the obvious earth balance. You can find this at pretty much any grocery store. I got this from Safeway. It comes in many different varieties. It comes in a spread or in stick form as well. You can get it soy-free. You can also use coconut oil. Works pretty much the same way. But since it is solid at room temperature, if you're baking on a cold day, just go ahead and throw it in the microwave for a couple of seconds to make it easier to work with. It's really just a matter of personal preference. If you're substituting butter that is melted in a recipe, like in a cake or a brownie or a quick bread, and you want to make the recipe a little bit healthier, cleaner, lighter, you can also substitute in pureed fruit. So some mashed banana, a little bit of applesauce, or canned pumpkin. That all works perfectly fine. It's going to just add in the moisture to the recipe that the oil would. I wouldn't necessarily substitute it in 100%, but if you wanted to cut out like half or 3/4 of the amount of oil and just put in an equal volume of applesauce or mashed banana, it's gonna work just fine, and it's not gonna compromise the texture or the flavor too much. So we have this cream together, and now we're gonna move on to the topic of eggs. There's a lot of easy ways to substitute eggs in vegan recipes. You all probably know about the flax egg, so I just have some ground flaxseed here. For every 1 egg that you want to use in a recipe, take a tablespoon of ground flaxseed and 3 tablespoons of water. Mix them together, let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes, and this is going to take the place of egg. It's going to make your recipes moist, and it's also going to act as a binding agent. And you can do the same thing with chia seeds, and there are also a lot of egg replacers out on the market now. The one I have here is ener-g, and this is just a mixture of different starches and some cellulose and cream of tartar. It's gonna act as a binder. You're not gonna detect any flavor the way that you would with flaxseed. Today we're just gonna be using flax egg. I like it. This is typically my go-to. I wouldn't necessarily use flax egg if you are trying to make something super light and fluffy, because it is just going to weigh your recipe down a little bit more. But for cookies and brownies and things that are a little bit more dense, flax egg is really good. More on the topic of eggs, if you're trying to make something with meringue, I've heard great things about aquafaba. I haven't tried it out myself, but I probably will in a future installment on this channel. I'd also added my vanilla extract into that flax mixture, so it's smelling really good right now. At this point, we're gonna do all of our dry ingredients. Another thing you can use in place of eggs is pureed tofu, silken tofu, or even firm tofu if you get it smooth enough in like a blender. It has the protein content of eggs, so it's gonna act as a binder. It's gonna keep your recipe moist. Maybe just 1/4 cup of pureed tofu, or really well mashed tofu in place of any egg. Okay, so our cookie dough's ready. And the added benefit of making your baked goods vegan is that there's no salmonella, so you can totally just eat it and not worry about becoming violently ill. Let's talk chocolate chips. This is the Enjoy Life brand. These are the mega chunks. This I actually got at my Safeway, my regular grocery store. Didn't even have to go to a health food store. You can also substitute in cacao nibs. These are used in a lot of raw vegan desserts. They have the chocolatey flavor. They're not sweetened. You can get sweetened ones, I think, actually, but they're still gonna taste a little bit bitter. But when you add them into a recipe that is already sweet, you're gonna get this really nice crunch, and it's gonna balance out the flavors as well. So you can use this. This tastes so good, exactly like your Hershey's or Nestle semi-sweet chocolate. There's really no excuse to be adding animal secretions to your desserts. This recipe also calls for some chopped nuts. You can add walnuts. I'm actually gonna skip on these today because I think that I might be mildly allergic. It's a fact that I've been ignoring for most of my life, but today we're just gonna play it safe. Mandatory taste test. Back with the baking sheet lined with the silicone baking mat. I just made 3. I'm gonna cook them the exact same way as I would regular cookies, and I will be back in about 15 minutes. All right, you guys, I'm back. Now is the moment of truth. As you can see, I've got my 3 little cookies here, and I've given them a moment to cool down, and they look exactly the same as if you had made the recipe with dairy, butter, and eggs. The texture is exactly like regular chocolate chip cookies. They're chewy in the middle, and a little bit crispy on the outside. That's how I like mine. If you want them to be like chewier, just cook them a little bit less. They taste super buttery. I honestly can't tell the difference between Earth Balance and real butter if it's mixed up in a recipe. The only really discernible difference between this and the regular version of the recipe is that there's like a slight toasted nutty flavor from the ground flaxseed, but if that's something that bothers you that you want to avoid, like I said, just go ahead and use one of those egg replacers, the ener-g or the neat egg, and then you won't detect a flavor difference at all. I kind of like the flavor of the flaxseed though, so just do whatever you prefer. So good. I hope that you try out these substitutions, especially if you thought that any of your favorite recipes have become off limits since you went vegan. Definitely not the case. Let me know if there are any other tips and tricks that I'm missing out on that I can try out. And also let me know down below if you are interested in seeing that aquafaba meringue video, because I'm kind of curious. I've seen other people make aquafaba macarons too, so vegan macarons would be pretty awesome. That is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate everyone who watches my videos and leaves comments and suggestions, even, criticism. I would love to hear it because I definitely want to take this channel in the direction that you guys want to see it go in. I really do appreciate all of the feedback that I get, and I hope that you'll subscribe if you're new to this channel and you're interested in more vegan lifestyle and cooking videos, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.